Display controls are on the glare shield. Each pilot has a display select panel and an EICAS control panel. The EICAS control panels adjust indications on the PFD and ND. These controls are used with the PFD. These controls are used with the ND. The EICAS controls are talked about in the PFD and ND lessons. The Display Select Panels, or DSPs, let you control which displays are shown on the inboard DUs. These switches control the EICAS display. The two sets of switches can be used at all times. EICAS does not have to be in view on the same side as the DSP switches that you use. The EICAS transfer switches move the display between the captain's and first officer's DUs. Each push of a transfer switch will move EICAS to the other pilot's inboard DU. Use one of the transfer switches to move EICAS to the first officer's side. A second push of a switch would move EICAS back to the captain's side. The engine display switches show or remove the EICAS secondary engine indications. Push one of the switches now. Operation of the cancel recall switches is talked about in a different lesson. These DSP switches are used to show the different MFDs on the inboard DUs. We'll use the name upper MFD for these controls because some non-normal conditions make it necessary to show MFDs on the outboard DUs. Each DSP controls only the displays on that side of the flight deck. As we talk about each control, only the captain's or the first officer's DSP and DUs will be shown. The multifunction display switches are used to select a window to show an MFD. The display lights above the switches tell you which window is active. In this example, only the left window is active because EICAS is in the right window. A window's MFD switch is inoperative when EICAS is in the window. Move the EICAS display to the other side and look at the display lights. When EICAS is moved, the display light for the most inboard window comes on automatically. This is done so that you can quickly put a checklist or some other MFD into that window. Push the checklist switch to show the checklist in the right MFD window. The ND is removed from the right window, but it stays in the left window in the normal format. Now show the communication display in the left MFD window. First, use the left MFD switch to select the left MFD window. Show the communication display. The communication display has replaced the ND in the left window. The ND is the standard MFD for the inboard DU, but it can be temporarily replaced by other MFDs. You can remove a non-standard MFD if you push its display switch again. Each push of a non-standard MFD's display switch shows and then removes the MFD. When the non-standard MFD is removed, the standard MFD is shown again. A non-standard MFD can also be removed if you push the switch for the standard MFD. To remove the checklist, make the right window active and then push the ND switch. Because the ND was selected to the left and right windows, it shows in the full display format. Now let's see how to control MFDs on the lower DU. MFD controls for the lower DU are on the forward aisle stand. They are a part of the multifunction keypads, or MFKs. The lower display switches operate independently from the other MFK functions, which are talked about in the next lesson. We'll show only the display switches as we talk about the lower MFD controls. The lower display switches are the same as the upper display switches on the DSP. Because there is only one lower MFD window on each pilot side, there are no lower multifunction display switches. To show an MFD in the lower window, you push a display switch. Push the Systems switch. In this example, the flight control synoptic is shown. This is the systems display you would see on the ground after engine start. Now, remove the flight control display. The standard CDU shows again on the lower DU. The white lines around the upper ND and lower CDU display switches tell you that those DUs are the standard locations for those MFDs. Let's see what occurs if you put the ND or CDU onto a different DU. Show the CDU on the inboard display unit. The lower DU now shows Select MFD because the CDU is in a non-standard window. You can push one of the upper MFD switches to remove the CDU, or the lower CDU switch to show it, and the CDU will be back on its standard DU. To put the ND and the CDU back into their standard DUs in one step, push only one of these display switches. All MFD windows now show their standard displays. Most display switches show you the MFD for only one airplane system. For example, the ND switch can only show the navigation display, and the communication switch can only show you communication displays. The system switch gives you access to the MFDs for more than one airplane system. The airplane's phase of flight controls which system MFD is shown. Push the system switch. On the ground, before engine start, the system switch shows the status display. On the ground after engine start, the system switch shows you the flight controls synoptic. In flight, the system switch shows the fuel synoptic. After landing, the system switch shows the status display again. The menu keys can also be used to show the different system MFDs. Most MFDs can be shown in only one window at a time on each side of the flight deck. The systems and information displays can be shown in two windows at the same time. Push the Systems display switch. In this example, the engines have not been started, so the status display shows in the left MFD window. Let's also look at the electrical synoptic. First, select the right MFD window. Push the system switch again. The status display also shows in the right window. You use the menu keys to show other systems displays. Menus will be talked about in the next lesson. Select the electrical menu key. The electrical synoptic replaces the status display in the window. Now there are systems displays shown in two MFD windows. You can also show two information displays at the same time in different windows. The display shows the valid date ranges of the airport map database